Hello there. We're in the last week of September and I'm out to capture some of the early fall color when you can still mix it with the summer color, the greens of the summer. Also, I'm testing out my new 70 to 200mm lens, for which these kinds of really cloudy conditions in this really dense forest might seem a bit odd, but it's actually excellent with a longer lens because you can isolate subjects and really get intimate with nature. And well, even though I said that what I'm out to photograph is the autumn color, I can see here an interesting composition and a good opportunity to do a test with panoramas and focusing in on subjects a little bit further away with the lens. So I'm gonna try that just to get some experience with the lens, which is very important, especially as we're moving into peak season of autumn color. And it's just out here, out in the lake. You have some trees in the way, but we're gonna move right here and find a good composition with it. So this panorama isn't going to turn out to be a good picture or anything. It's mostly me getting used to the new lens, and what I did is that I'm using it here on the tripod color. It's a third-party one, and facing the camera in portrait mode, and then I just pan across, taking pictures, making sure that the horizon line is leveled. Let's move into nature again. It isn't really as much fall color in here as I would have hoped. It seems to me that most of the fall color, or most of the early fall color, is by the roads, and it kind of fools you to think that we've moved further into autumn than we actually have, because, well, most of the time you're driving on roads and seeing the trees, and then you think that, oh my god, we're almost in peak color because by the roads it sometimes looks like that, but it isn't the case, because as soon as you get into nature, as you can see behind me here, the color just haven't moved that far along, and it's still just so much green and just a slight tiny tint of yellow in some of the leaves. So we're a few weeks away, but I'm certain that we can find at least one picture here somewhere, so let's find it. So I walked around this whole little forest area now, and it's still maybe a month off actually. It's still very, very green, so I didn't find a single composition here. But I won't let my spirit drop just because of that. There's still plenty of places where I know there is fall color. So we're gonna drive around a little bit, see what we can find, and hopefully we can find something. So let's do that. So I'm at the first location here that I had in mind for, well, scouting out today, and what I find here is that it's raining, which wasn't part of the plan really, but more importantly, this location hasn't really come to a point in the fall color where it's actually shootable, in my opinion. It's just a mix between yellowish and green, so it hasn't come to the right color yet. So this location here is really, well, for well, a week or 2 or 3 in the future, I guess. So no shooting here really, because of the color and partly because of the rain. So let's move on. Alright, so I think I found something quite unique and quite beautiful here. It's just inside in the forest here, within the pine trees. There are these things growing. I'm not sure what they're called. Where are they? They're here. Let me just show you. These things. Anyway, those are growing in amongst the trees. This is quite dark with the clouds up above here. The forest kind of darkens everything down, and then just a soft light comes in from the road here, kind of lights towards it. So it should be really soft, but anyway, still kind of focused light, and hopefully the background can kind of drop into, well, into a darkness, not completely black probably, but darker at least. So I think that could be really pretty. So we're gonna check that out and see if we can get an image out of that. Right, so this image was actually a little bit tricky in that it was very hard to find a defining foreground and then to use it in the correct way, because I really wanted to have, well, that certain plant as a foreground and just keep that as an element through the image and then leave it falling into the forest. So the hard part was getting really close to it and finding one that looked the right way, pointing the right way, as well as it's still being in the right place and having enough of its brethrens in the middle ground. So it was a little bit tricky, but in the end I'm gonna just use some focus stacking, and I think I'm gonna be able to pull it off. So let's move on.